Today I'll be showing you how to make a iPhone case completely out of paper. As you can see, it's thick, it's strong, and it's not like thicker paper or anything, it's regular construction paper. So this is a little bit of a complicated build, so if you haven't checked out some of the easier builds on my channel, I suggest doing that first. But other than that, let's get right into the build. So to start off, I'll be going over all the materials we'll be using. So first we'll be using paper, of course, and this is regular construction paper, nothing special. It's a 110-pound cardstock. You can get it at a Walmart for like 500 sheets for like $5. It's pretty cheap. I'll be using 3 sheets, as you can see here. They're not 8.5 by 11, they're a bit bigger, but 8.5 by 11 is completely fine. Next we'll be using Elmer's glue. It's regular glue that you can find in stores, and this is what we'll be using to turn this paper into hardened paper. Next we'll be using this craft knife so that when this turns into hardened paper we have something to cut out all of our templates from. This is Gorilla Glue or Super Glue. It's optional. It just makes it easier when I have all the parts cut out to glue them together. It goes really fast. A pencil we'll be using to make a template. A ruler will be helpful, and to create our template, I have my iPhone case here. I have the iPhone 7, so I have this clear case that will help me create the template with all the holes that I'll be needing and everything like that. So now let's get right into creating the hardened paper. Okay, so now we're going to go into how to make this hardened paper. So first, all you'll be needing is the paper, the Elmer's glue, something flat. So I'm using a popsicle stick and an index card or just a regular piece of paper that I folded in half to use as a glue spreader. Basically, the concept of creating hardened paper is you take this sheet of paper and I fold it in half, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread glue on one side of it and then basically glue it to itself so it dries and creates a very strong piece of paper. I'm going to make 3 of these with these 3 papers, and then I'm going to stack those on top of each other to create a hardened piece of paper. That is about 6 sheets of construction paper thick, which will be enough for us to create a very thick and strong iPhone case that will do the job really well. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this bottle of Elmer's glue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread a bunch of lines of, let me just move this paper, a bunch of lines of glue just down the side. Like that, just keep going up and down about 3 times for me. Okay, that should be good. If I need more, I'll put more. And then I'm going to take this folded up sheet of paper and simply spread it all over the sheet. Make sure you get everywhere. Don't be afraid to get some glue on your table, because that can be wiped away later. But just, you're going to spread everything. That looks like I had enough glue in that one. But make sure it's as even as possible before we fold it. Go all directions with your spreader. And that should be good. Now all I'm going to do, make sure that I've gotten all the sides. All I'm going to do is fold it. And there we go. So I'm just going to lift this up and use this paper towel to clean up all the glue that got out. There we go. And now we use this popsicle stick just to go over it, flatten everything out, even all the glue inside out. And that's going to create us 1 sheet of hardened paper. And you'll be needing 3 of these. And basically, once you create 3 of these, you're going to stack them on. You're going to do that same glue process. Like I'm going to put glue on top of this layer, then put another piece on until we have 3 stacked on top. But for now, you're going to take these individual sheets and you're going to leave them under some textbooks to dry for about a day. And then we can start to connect them together. So I'm going to go ahead and create the other 2 pieces, and then I'll be right back. Finished up all 3 sheets of hardened paper. As you can see, it's already getting a little tough to bend. And so what I'm going to do is I have these three, I'm just going to glue these all together to create one hard sheet. And once we do that, I'm going to let it dry for another 24 hours, and then we can get right into cutting it. And I'll get actually right there, from there I'll go into creating the template for the iPhone case and all the different parts that I'll be needing to create it. So let's get right into creating this big sheet. So now I've created this sheet, which is not dried at all, but it's very, very rigid, as you can see. It is a bit warped, but it's still wet, so I'm going to let it dry for 24 hours. And in the meantime, I'll be going into creating the template for my phone case so that we know what parts to cut out of this sheet once we are ready to cut out. So I'm just going to leave this under some textbooks, make sure that it doesn't warp, and I'll be right back. Now the first step to creating this template is having my case. Now the case is extremely skin tight to the iPhone, so this back part will be a perfect shape for what we want as the back piece on the iPhone case. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace it right onto this paper, including the slot for the camera. So as you can see, I got the exact shape of the iPhone. It's a little light, but you should be able to see it. But now what we want is, since this case is actually curves around to fit the iPhone, ours is going to be square. So what I want to do is make this about 2 millimeters bigger, so that it has space for the side pieces to move up around the iPhone. So I'm going to go ahead using a ruler, create a piece that's 2 millimeters bigger. So I'm basically done with the template. After I cut everything out, I might add something depending on how it turns out. But this is what you saw before. This is the case, which I increased by 2 millimeters. So, but I divided them into pieces. So we have this bottom piece, which are the same as the top pieces, the side pieces, and then we have these bending parts, which are each 2.2 centimeters. So then I turned them into rods that I'll be placing around. So this is the two long parts, the two short parts, and these are the 4 curved points, which I'm just going to turn it to glue on. So I'm going to stick this on my design and cut it out. So I got the sheet in hard paper. It's a bit warped from leaving it out to air dry, but it's actually very strong right now. It barely bends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out this first part, tape it on here, and just get the layout with my craft knife out on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that. So now that I have my first design pasted on here, I'm just gonna take this and cut it out. So here we go. As you can see the rough design that's been made onto our hardened paper, and all we have to do from here is just take this knife and get deeper with the holes. But if you notice from the time lapse that I cut the outside part first, which is a huge mistake. I should have cut the center part so that the side doesn't fall off. So I suggest you do that. Before I cut out all these other parts, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this main part out. So let's get right to it. As you can see, I cut out the back shell and also included the circle, which I didn't mention before, just so that I can show the Apple logo. It looks pretty nice. It's extremely strong, and it will definitely protect my phone. I don't know if I'll be using it depending on how well it turns out, but the cuts are pretty clean, and I like the way it's turning out so far. But before we move on, What I have to do is, with these side parts, I have to make sure that I create holes for the various buttons and speakers, so on each thing except for the curved pieces over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to figure out where I'm gonna place the holes on these, and then I'll be right back. So I made some adjustments to the templates, the side pieces, so that I have room for all the buttons. So you can see I have the volume button, the ringer, we have the off button for the iPhone, and then we have the charging port and the two speakers on this side. This side, the top side, doesn't have any buttons, and then we have, of course, the curved pieces which don't need any adjustment. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on my hardened paper and cut it up. So here's the two side pieces. As you can see, there's the button holes in them. The cut wasn't amazing, but it'll work for our purposes. I test fit them and it fit pretty well. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and glue the side pieces on like that, and I'll be right back. As you can see, I've made quite a bit of progress on the phone case, my bad. I've glued all four parts, the side parts, and all I have left to do is the curved parts on the sides. I've tested with my phone and it fits perfectly, but obviously I'm filming with my phone, so I can't show you. I will show you at the end. But all the buttons work out pretty well, but these really thin pieces over here are like, they're pretty weak, so I'm gonna strengthen them with some Gorilla Glue. But other than that, I just need to get started on the side pieces, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So to make these corner pieces, all I did was I took a thin strip of paper and I just took my nails and bent it a little bit, and to get this curved shape so that I could get it and just put it in there like that, so that I have that piece. Now all I'm gonna do is glue it in, and then once I get all four pieces, our case should be finished. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So here it is, completely finished. All the parts are glued in, and it's looking pretty good. It is kind of obvious that there are pieces connecting these sides, but other than that, it looks pretty good. And I'm gonna go ahead and in a second show you what it looks like with a phone in it. So let's go do that. Okay, so I got everything to fit. It is kind of fragile, so I probably won't be using it as my primary case. But as you can see, everything fits properly. I can access all the buttons, like the off button, volume buttons. Speakers have space. But other than that, that's pretty much it. If you like this build, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll be back next time.